After releasing the spirit of the Herodric betrayer, Zultan Kulle, we demand he holds up his end of the bargain of giving us the Black Soulstone, rumored to be the key to trapping the greater and lesser evils.
I will give you the Black Soulstone, but in exchange, I must be made whole once again.
You were treacherous before. How do I know you won't be an even greater threat once you've been fully revived?
You don't. So you must ask yourself, how much would you risk to save this wretched world?
Everything.
So be it. To begin, you will need to retrieve my blood from the dungeons where it has been hidden away. You will find them in the desolate sands beyond the Aqueducts.
I'm going to go with you. We should bring Kulle's head with us. Maybe he'll have something useful to say. I'll put him in your bag.
With Kulle's decapitated head in our bag and a mission that is more about bringing him back to life and his own goals than the Black Soulstone, we turn to the former Archangel Tyrael for guidance on dealing with Belial, and he says,
Have you ever fought Belial?
Not openly. He was never one to lead an army, always in the shadows, much like his mentor Mephisto. He wields intrigue and artifice as proficiently as you wield your weapons.
It's true, we prefer to look our enemy in the eye than all this subterfuge. It seems like cowardice, but with more steps. Speaking of subterfuge, we asked the witch Adria about her motives.
After surviving the devastation in Tristram all those years ago, I swore vengeance upon Diablo and his ilk. I've sacrificed everything for it. This is my path, and I will follow it through to its bloody end.
Leah thinks highly of you.
She has a kind heart.
There are worse qualities.
Kindness will not help us survive in these dark times. The Lord of Lies is cunning. He wears many masks to hide his shifting nature from us. But we will have an advantage over him. The Black Soulstone. Belial fears its power, for Soulstones have bested his siblings in the past, and he could be imprisoned as well.
Whatever Adria's motives, it's clear that she is correct. Having a soulstone would be a powerful boon for the side of the light. And so we head back through the waypoint and into the Dahlgur Oasis once more. It's then Kulle's spirit stops us.
You're an interesting one, aren't you? I wonder if your friends know what you truly are.
Speak plainly.
Oh, all will be revealed in time.
There's one thing we don't appreciate is all of this maddening cryptic double talk that people are using. It's like Belial has infected the very earth on which we stand. It's not long before we come across a caravan that has been abandoned, and Belial's forces, including the snake-like writhing deceivers, are found. But they guard something important on the body of an envoy of Belial regarding the Black Soulstone, which read,
Overwhelm the enemy and seize his companions. There is a witch among them, and another, a girl. Bring them to me along with the Black Soulstone.
Not yet.
They will be searching for the head of Zultan Kulle. Scour the Oasis for it. Some old sorcery lingers on the skull, and it must be mine.
Although we are a step ahead of Belial, having already gathered the head of Zultan Kulle, we are unfortunately forever a step behind this treasure goblin. And, more unfortunate, once felled, it reveals a paltry few items that are of little use to us. After much searching in the northwestern corner, we find the entrance to the Aqueducts guarded by Strass, a super unique serpent magus, who happens to be barring our path.
You will not enter the Aqueducts! Lord Belial demands your blood!
Following a short battle, we head across the bridge and to the waterways entrance to find the door is sealed.
I can open this gate for you.
Kulle obligingly opens the gate. Once inside the waterway, we see underfoot a carving of an old man, and ahead of us, a waterfall. This truly is a sight to behold. To the west of the waterfall, we find the Emperor.
Emperor Hakan?
No time for pleasantries. I think I may have uncovered Belial's assumed identity. I'm very close. But here's what you need to know. To find Kulle's blood, you'll need to get through the aqueducts. There are 2 levers that control the entrance beneath the waterfall.
Have you located Belial?
Not yet, but I have some ideas. It is difficult. I have many advisors and other attendants close to me day and night. I will find him.
How are you able to appear before us?
They keep a close watch on me. I can't leave the palace. I stole an amulet from the Vizera ambassador. I saw him use it before. But I don't have much time. You need to find the stone. Leave Belial to me.
He did not really answer your question. How odd.
How odd indeed that Hakan appears, but he is aiding us in our quest. But why? It's in the Western Channels we meet Belial's forces once more.
There will be fighting here.
It's Belial. So long as he lives, all of Chaldean is under siege. Uncle Deckard theorized that the demon lords leave demons in their wake, much like us leaving footprints.
And you agree?
Yes. The more I study my uncle's books, the more I realize that even I took his wisdom for granted.
Wading through the forces in the waterway, as Cain would say, in the footsteps of Belial, we find one of Abd al-Hazir's entries about its construction.
The Chaldean aqueducts were created by order of the Trade Consortium Council after the Dahlgur Oasis was discovered 3 centuries ago. Though Chaldean had been prosperous for many years, a reliable source of water allowed the city to grow even further. Luxurious public fountains were built to provide safe drinking water for everyone.
What a dastardly and insidious plan of Belial's to infect the very drinking water of the residents of Chaldean. To what end, we can only imagine. Pondering this thought as we battle our way through the aqueduct and facing a super unique mangler named Gruul, Leah imparts her own thoughts, saying,
Cower before Zakarum!
The philosopher Caddis said, if you want to know the truth of a city, you need look no further than the state of its infrastructure.
So, Chaldean is magnificent and corrupt.
Yes, and built on secrets.
I guess Leah was too polite to say that Chaldean's beautiful if you ignore being ankle-deep in sewerage. It's not long before we come across a dead end and another of Abd al-Hazir's journal entries on the aqueduct itself.
In recent days, the aqueducts have become dilapidated and infested with vermin. The Imperial Guard has done nothing, proclaiming that the aqueducts were in tolerable condition. But I have seen them with my own eyes, and I know the truth. Many wealthy families, including myself, now prefer well water for our homes.
Even if they cleaned this place out, I'd be using well water for another 50 years after seeing some of the sludge coming out of the undead. As we clear debris from the fetid waterways, Leah, it seems, has become once again preoccupied with the enigmatic Soul Stone and her fervent desire to learn more about the lesser evils.
I want more time to explore the great library of Chaldean when this is all over.
You sound like Cain.
Maybe, but they've got to have books on the Black Soul Stone and Asmodan, something that will help me understand his theories.
We may not understand the science behind soul stones, but know that Zultan Kulle, the lesser evils, even Emperor Hakan, need to be kept away from this invaluable artifact. And it's not long before we come across the Eastern Flow Control. Nearing it, the Enchantress guides.
There! Pull that lever.
That passage should lead to the Desolate Sands.
With the way to the Desolate Sands now opened, Kulle once more stops to advise.
A secret door hidden behind a waterfall. How imaginative.
You would do better?
You shall see when we get to my archives.
Next stop is Zultan Kulle's archives via the Waterlogged Passage. However, when we enter the passage, we're met with a cutscene.
Hello? Is there anyone alive out there?
This initiates a kind of side quest with the infamous Covetous Shen, the jeweler of Diablo 3, though as I will probably cover his story in a later video, we're going to skip his pseudo side quest for the time being. With Shen leaving us, we enter the ancient path, and as soon as we enter the area, Leah says,
You go on ahead. I'm going back to town. I need to learn the spell needed to restore Kulle's body. I'll meet you when you get to the archives.
Leaving Leah to her studies, we head up some stairs, and Kulle once again appeals to our vanity.
You and I are the same. But those others, the fallen angel, the witch, they're using you for their own ends. You choose to be their puppet, yet the power of your birthright could make you a god.
Oh, I haven't the vanity to seek godhood. I leave that to you.
There's no need to be snide. Soon enough, I'll walk this world again. Then I'll show you what a Nephilim can achieve.
Whether the Nephilim in the drowned temple or supposedly Kulle himself, all of these beings so obsessed with their birthright instead of what matters, doing what's right. Heading east, we start to make our way up some stairs and past many bones. It seems like the desolate sands are some form of graveyard. There are bones about that are bigger than we've ever seen before. And at the top of the stairs, we find Kulle once more.
My archives lie beneath this desert, perhaps even beneath the sands we now tread upon. The Horadrim could not destroy them. They could only lock the door behind them, and I still have the keys.
Left once more to search the sands as we face Lacuni and various desert-dwelling monsters, we find at the base of a cliff what seems to be 3 parts of a hunter's journal, and of a Zakarum adherent, no less.
We, the Zakarum, have endeavored to make Chaldeum a city of mercy and salvation, but we have not yet been able to convince the emperors to change the ancient policy of exile. Prisoners convicted of treason are still sent to the desolate sands to die with nothing but the clothes on their backs. In thousands of years of records, I cannot find a single account of a prisoner surviving exile to the desolate sands. The wastes are littered with bones that have been picked dry by the endlessly circling bloodhawks or desperate Lacuni. Those who die there meet their end without the sanctity of the light. The Zakarum scholar Brast wrote that the desolate sands were created after a mage clan battle sent out explosive energies that devastated the entire area. But he doesn't account for the enormous skeletons. No one has ever identified them. Were they a lost trace of giant beasts? Demons? Mythical dragons? We may never know.
Exactly which creatures had inhabited the desolate sands is a mystery that remains still in Diablo 3 and the wider Diablo universe, yet is reminiscent of the Mage Clan Wars and the story of Bartok and Horizon. It's not long before we happen upon a structure that is man-made and no doubt has to do with the mad mage Kulle himself. To the north of the platform, we find a hunter's journal that reveals.
We found Kulle's archives. They were strangely empty at first, but Kulle laid traps everywhere, each step harder than the next. It was foolish to expect otherwise. Kulle has prepared for many years for someone to come for him. Perhaps we are fools, and yet we must push on.
Some of my blood is within that cave. I can feel it.
As if unnaturally summoned due to the writings of his brethren, the Horadrim, we too hunt artifacts of Kulle. Inside the cave of the Betrayer, the Enchantress remarks,
A pall of silence lays heavily here.
At the entrance of the cave, we find another of Kulle's journals that reads,
I believe with this soul stone, I will finally be able to unlock the true power of man. In ancient times, our kind possessed power unmatched in this dreary age. With the soul stone, I will be able to elevate myself to the strength of my ancestors. The black soul stone will be my greatest work, my legacy, and my gift to humanity. There will be wars to come between man and the creatures of heaven and hell. The power housed within my stone is the very thing needed to set mankind free from demons and angels forever.
This madman intended to trap angels and demons alike. It sounds altruistic on the surface, but who would rule over humanity in their stead, we wonder? Perhaps a mad wizard? Sounds likely. Contending with the cave's inhabitants, including the huge worm-like sand tremors, we finally happen across the blood of Kulle himself. The act summons some skeletal guardians who almost appear in a mock show of defense, but just amble about. It's then the Enchantress rightfully questions,
Can a mad wizard ever reform his ways? I do not think so.
I think it'll be a cold day in hell before Kulle drops his superiority complex, contending with the Lacuni and desert raptors, as well as the mosquito-like creatures that make us itchy. Zultan Kulle once again appears in front of the Vault of Assassins.
In here, I can feel my blood nearby. They hid some of it beyond this portal.
Once inside, the Enchantress warns,
These halls belonged to Zultan Kulle before they became his prison.
Well, on the bright side, at least he got to be the architect of his own prison. After wading through scores of the undead, we finally find the other vial of Kulle's blood, as well as a journal in the southwestern portion. Picking up the blood, our quest is complete. But also, we unknowingly summoned the Mage Lord Mizjin, the Guardian Lord of Blood. It's said of the skeletal guardians that they are the most dangerous of all skeletal minions. To create a skeletal guardian, a mage must put in a considerable effort and quite expensive reagents, partially infusing the resulting construct with their own essence. The result, however, is a servant who will guard his master's secrets for eternity. The Guardian vanishes into the sands from whence it came, and we can't help but wonder if a part of Kulle's own essence has been released or lost to the sands forever. Before we exit the archive, we look at Kulle's journal, which reads,
Finally, I have unlocked the secret of the soul stones once given to the Horadrim by Tyrael. An impressive creation, to be sure, but one that I am certain can be duplicated. No, not just duplicated, improved upon. My soul stone will be made to contain the souls of many demons, or even angels.
Kulle wants to harness the powers of a god for himself. As soon as he helps us locate the Black Soul Stone, we're going to recommend to Tyrael we make sure he stays as far away from the powerful artifact as humanly possible.